Let's go back to the beginning. Hi, hello, and how's it going? It is her to she, it is me, it is I, Millenia Decade.
And I'm Alix with an I, and this is Café.
Gone glitter.
You have to do that. Ow.
Ew.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today.
God damn, what happened?
I don't know.
Hit.
Puberty. My balls dropped for a second.
Oh my god. Welcome to our studio out here in Armona, California.
Ooh, let's hear it for Armona. You heard the crickets?
Chickens. The chickens.
The chickens and the crickets.
My poor chicken.
One of them chickens is...
Apparently chickens are mean to each other. So
yeah, he's a new chicken dad, so we found out that the chickens are fighting, but they're being separated at the moment.
They were named Frenchie and Rizzo by another gay man.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I was trying to name him Vin Diesel, but
today's topic is Valentine's Day.
Special edition.
Ooh.
Valentine's Day.
Love
is in the air.
Love is in the air.
Let's talk about sex.
I've been a lot of places, seen a lot of faces.
I haven't fucked. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Everybody has sex on Valentine's Day.
Do they?
Most people do.
Most people do. Is that why we have so many babies in December?
That's why there's so many. What are they? Sagittariuses? I don't know. But no, yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, Valentine's Day is coming up, so everything in the store is pink and red right now.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me, I'm pink and red.
No, I like Valentine's Day. I think it's great to have a day to acknowledge your partner, but it kind of should be done every day now.
Yeah.
But I think Valentine's Day has a high expectation for people in relationships, to go out and buy things for them, have a date, all kinds of stuff. But you should have date night all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you should. I think that's the common thing, that a lot of people think Valentine's is supposed to be for couples.
Yeah.
Love comes in many different forms. Of course, you can love yourself, you can love your mom, you can love your dad, your friend, your bestie, your neighbor, your DL guy. Like, you can love everybody.
Your DL guy. Yeah. I know that word.
Ooh.
Yeah,
He's been hanging out with the gays, so
I'm like,
he's catching on.
That is. You're the one that told me about a beard.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what?
I was like, you can see it.
No.
Oh no.
No. Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, like gay men or it's not gay men anymore, like queer people that maybe marry someone to make it seem like they are straight, but they're not. It's just a beard.
Yeah. Learning.
He's learning, y'all.
Yeah. But yeah, back to what you were saying. Yeah, I think it's important to have self-love. And you can love different types of people, like your family, your loved ones. Goddamn. Yeah. COVID up in this house.
In the studio of Armona.
But yeah, it's really important to be able to learn what you like, to love yourself. Because I heard you say one time that you don't love yourself.
Oh yeah, Obama said, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I feel that there's a lot of people out there that get really sad during Valentine's too. There's a lot of people who like feel, sad because they don't have a partner or someone to share it with. I feel that there is a lot of expectation to have a partner, and a lot of people just really do want to be loved by somebody else, you know?
Do.
But love is hard.
Love is hard.
It's
Dating
not easy.
is hard.
Dating is hard.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about dating.
You haven't really dated?
No.
Well, let me tell you a little something. I feel, in my opinion, that when it comes to finding a successful partner or finding a successful relationship or having a successful relationship, English, I feel that there are so many things that you need to be compatible in. There needs to be spiritual, emotional, sexual compatibility. There's so many aspects to it because you can like certain things about someone, but you just are not compatible in other things that are essential for the relationship to flourish or to survive. And especially if the other person, or if it's not mutual, the two people putting the work in together, then it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, no, I agree. Compatibility is great if you know what you're into, right? So if you both have things that you're in common, that you have in common with, that's great. But then when it's time to be intimate, you might not always be compatible. So I think really knowing yourself and knowing what you like is really important. I think our education system in regards to sex and sexual health has declined or has not gotten better.
Yeah.
It hasn't gotten that much better. When I was in school, they taught the girls just kind of like not rape prevention, but kind of like, hey, if somebody touches you, you got to call somebody. It wasn't like, hey, your body's changing. This is what's gonna happen. Hey, these are like.
When I got drafted with the boys, I had to sit through that. They were like, "You're gonna grow hairs in your armpits and in between your legs, and here's a bar of soap because you're gonna stink."
They really gave you a bar of soap.
They did with a sponge. It was shaped like a foot. I remember.
Oh my god! Why?
I don't know. Why like a foot?
I don't know. I don't know. They're like, put your foot in it.
But
yeah, that's weird.
It's interesting to hear your perspective though, because I never really thought about it. I just remember the girls leaving the other room and they had a bigger bag than us, and I was like, why do they get deodorant? They get pads, they get tampons. I don't know what pads and tampons were, but I was like, I want some of those.
You know what they are now, right?
Yeah.
No, I think, and you know, when it comes to our, well, my culture, it wasn't talked about as much either.
Stigma or taboo.
Yeah, the topic of sex, your body changing hormones, relationships, all that stuff, it was not talked about. Even
I had to find out on my own.
I had to find out what.
Well, everything, like when it came to like sex and body changing. But part of the reason was because my parents were under the impression that the school was gonna do it because they signed the waiver that allowed me to get my bar of soap and my foot sponge. So they like years later they were like, wait, but we thought that they talked about it with you. And I was like, well, they just told me to take a shower, you know, but the other stuff I had to figure out.
Did you Google it?
No, I didn't think of Googling it.
We didn't have Google.
I remember seeing Google for the first time in 6th grade. A kid used it on the school library computer.
We had Ask Jeeves. Yeah.
Ooh, throwback. I remember my high school sisters using that. And I was like, wow, the power of the
internet. Yeah, no, they didn't really tell us. And then in high school it was like, have sex, get STDs. It was like that. It was not like, hey,
in high school I thought nobody was having sex.
They were all having sex.
I came to find out years later, but I thought like, no, everybody here is a virgin. Like we are all.
Everybody's waiting until they're married.
I was like, the Jonas Brothers and Miley Cyrus have purity rings, and so we all have to wait.
No, I think
they lied. They said it.
No, I started being intimate. I think I was like 15. Yeah. I was young, and I didn't even know what I was doing. And a lot of people still don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
A lot of people still don't know what they're doing.
Well, to me, I didn't really have that option because I was closeted, and even if I had like 2 queer people like approach me, and I'd be like, oh no, I'm straight, you know. But yeah, I didn't have that opportunity because I was busy being closeted and running away.
Yeah, but school doesn't even teach it, so they don't even teach you that, let alone things like gender identity, sexual orientation. I don't know if they do now, but
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, because heterosexual sex can be different than like gay sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you add on somebody like me who's trans, then it's not that different, but it's on my mind the way I have to make sure, I think about it and I think about my partner and things like that. But I think given my experience of me presenting as female for such a long time, I was able to understand women and literally be in their shoes. So I know what it's like to be catcalled. I know what it's like to be not be respected, and things like that. So I'm not saying I have a upper hand.
But you have an upper hand. Because me as the queer person with all the girlfriends in high school, like, and after high school, a lot of them are like, guys don't know what they're doing, or guys don't understand, and it's true. Once you see it, it's almost like guys have a certain like air of privilege to them. Straight hetero men, they don't consider, or yeah, they're not considerate about women and where they're at, and that to me is a turn off. Like when a guy is not aware, or they're like everything's equal, like everybody has the right, like everything's. I'm like, no, it's not, and I'm not gonna be the one to tell you. I'm just gonna be like, bye.
Yeah, no, a lot of cisgender men don't have the educational knowledge,
Yeah.
of treating their partner right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I would imagine too in a gay relationship, right? Or maybe men who are closeted, right? Or something like that, or they're on the down low, like you said. They're just kind of like, oh, in and out. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Don't think about their partner's needs, or wants.
Well, I think when it comes to, it's tricky when it comes to dating in my community, or even like sex, because there is a lot of casual, just meet up, get it done, and leave. Does that happen in hetero world?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh well,
Yeah.
it's not exclusive.
Yeah, they
to
have things
gays.
like, no, they have things like Tinder and things like that. But again, I was in a relationship for a super long time, like half my life. Like
Yeah.
I was in a relationship for over 15 years,
From high school
from
up
high
until
school.
like what, mid or your 30s?
Early 30s, yeah. So I mean, I'm only 32, so
You're old.
yeah, I'm old. No. So I didn't get to experience a lot of like dating or anything like that, but it did give me a chance to figure out what I like, in regards to relationship, and set goals for what I want a relationship to be for me in the future.
Yeah, because a lot of people have this idea that like a failed relationship, or like if a relationship didn't work out, it's a failure. But it's like, no, because it allowed you to know what it is you like, what you don't, what you're gonna look for in a future partner if you want one, what your faults are as a partner, what you need to work on. Like it could be a great opportunity for growth and self-reflection, but of course it takes a little bit of maturity and setting the ego aside, and not a lot of people do that, because a lot of people will be like, fuck them, fuck my ex, on to the next one, I wasn't the problem. But yeah, I feel very strongly about that. Just kidding.
Tell us a little bit more.
No!
Tell us a little bit more about that.
What was it?
About how people will very much be like, fuck my ex, fuck everything.
Yeah, like there's some people who desperately are looking for love in the partner, but they don't realize that they're the problem, that they're repeating cycles, that there's healing that needs to be done, that sometimes they're the problem. We have to admit and set our ego aside and understand that we are not perfect, and that there will be times that our partner is right, that we're doing things wrong. We need to be open to the criticism and open to changing that. If you truly love someone, I feel you'd work on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's really hard to be able to take accountability in relationships. I think, yeah, no, it's hard. But like you said, I think not failed relationships, but relationships that don't work out, do give you that opportunity to set expectations for yourself so that you don't continue that cycle.
Yeah.
Like, I know already that I don't want my relationship to be what it was with somebody else. Like I want it to be different, and I
It
know
has to be
where,
its own thing.
yeah, and I know where I need to fix my own things, right? Because I'm not perfect.
Mhm.
But yeah, really, everybody's so pressed to be in a relationship during Valentine's Day
Mhm.
because they want to experience that love. I mean, movies, society, they paint this idea of what love is and this white picket fence and like a family and things like
I think
that.
it used the further back in time you go, the worse it gets, you know, and that was like the ideal thing, like the goal as a human to find your partner, make a family, and
Work and then
huh?
work and then die.
You. Times are changing, and but that's the main thing. Like the sad part is that like a lot of people are looking for love, but they're not willing to see that maybe it hasn't been working out because there's stuff you need to address, you know.
It's me, not you.
It's no, it's the opposite. It's you, not
It's
me.
you, not me.
Yeah.
No, I think there's a lot of people that are trying to figure out what they even want. But you know what? Our generation is not having kids
Oh.
the way past generations are. I think our generation is really breaking that chain of like we're not having as many kids. But everybody I know from high school mostly has kids. So the pressure to have a family is pretty big. But dating, I think a lot of people are trying to just figure out who they are in life.
I think that's the case with. I think maybe people were doing that back then because they felt they had to, but now that people are getting rid of these expectations, they're kind of realizing, oh, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this when I'm 20, when I'm 30, and I could just do my own thing. And I think at the end of the day, everybody's just trying to figure life out, no matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 50. I've talked to people from all ages where they're like on the same, they're the same way. They're like just trying to figure it out, or they never had it figured out, or they learned to just let it be.
Yeah. And I think taking the time to do some of that self-love or self-reflection will help you get to a point where you do figure it out.
Yeah, instead of going, I should do A, B, and C by this, and that, you should say, what do I want for myself, and where do I,
Yeah.
like, what do I want for myself?
It's okay to be to just, I don't like to use the word selfish, but it's okay to be
Put yourself first.
put yourself first.
Yeah, because if you're not okay by yourself, you're not gonna be okay as a partner, and you're not gonna be okay and available for a relationship or anybody else.
Yeah.
It all starts with you. I like to say, like, watering your garden. You have to water your garden and take care of yourself first before you meet other people, and they need to be taking care of theirs too, because there's no way that you have the capacity to take care of them and yourself. Everybody should carry their own weight, basically.
I there was somebody that would tell me all the time. Well, I even see it on TikTok now, but that they have this like let them mentality.
The what?
Let them. So that if they do something, like just let them, instead of you trying to stop it right away.
Oh, yeah.
So let them. And then I always tell my siblings like, oh, if they want to, they will. So it's like if this person wants to, they will. They'll figure out a way. Don't put yourself out there and like beg and things.
You
like
can
that.
never force someone to do something they don't want to do. It all has to start within themselves. And that's even happened to me. Like, how many times did my parents not say, you should do A, you should do B, you should do C, you have to do it, and I would be like, no. And I wouldn't. And then like a couple of years go by, and they're like, and I'm like, I should have done it, or I'm gonna do it now. And I could see why they told me, and it was out of love. But sometimes you just gotta let people live their life and take their course. And no matter how much you want to love and protect somebody, they just gotta live their life and learn at their own pace.
Even if it's your partner.
Even if it's your partner.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about dating. We We talked a little bit about relationships. We talked a little bit about societal expectations for Valentine's Day. I think it's time to talk about sex.
Sex and Valentine's Day. I don't see the correlation. What is?
Really? I think, why does talking about sex make you so uncomfortable?
You know, 'cause I'm a demure lady. Like, I'm very private and meek and like, you know.
You are very timid.
I am.
Millenia is very timid outside of.
I am. But you know what? When I started working, I worked as an HIV counselor for a period of time. Was it HIV specialist?
You're a client specialist.
Okay.
Not me knowing your job.
That's my social. Just kidding. But it was through that job that I was able to get comfortable with speaking about sex and STIs and the prevention of STIs. Condoms and insertive condoms. Those are real. Insertive condoms, lube, and kind of just talking to people, because that job made me realize that there is a lot of misinformation due to the taboo and the stigma of sex. And maybe I don't like to talk about my personal life experience
What you been doing?
because I am a Christian woman of faith. No, because I'm private and shy and meek and all that stuff. But that job made me see the importance of advocating for safe sex and having all these things available for even youth, because believe it or not, they're still gonna do it, and they're doing it even if you didn't do it, even if I didn't do it. The rates are there.
Doing it, yeah.
The high rates and the statistics are out there, so it could all be prevented with education.
This is true. And there's such, like, we talk about that lack of education in schools, where they're supposed to teach you all these things, but on top of that, they don't talk about the queer community, right? So they don't explain to you about how there's a difference between orientation and gender identity, which is your sexual orientation is who you're attracted to, right? So for me, I'm attracted to women, so my orientation is straight. And then your gender identity is how you express yourself and kind of like who you are.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I would say that I'm a man, right?
Yes.
But there are some folks that, you know, their gender identity is like non-binary and things like that. And then when it comes to sex, a lot of people like to label things too, right? So if you're having sex with this person, it means this, and that's not always the case.
And I feel that sex is such a natural part of the human existence that people have it and they're like, oh, that's all there is to it. But there's like an educational aspect, or there's essentially safer or right ways to do things too, that are not taking into account,
like using lube.
Yeah, it's the amount of people I've met who are like, oh no, I don't need lube, and I'm like, yes you do.
Yeah, you do. You should.
Yeah,
use it.
The anus doesn't produce lubricant, you know.
And you know what? In the heterosexual relationships, lube is also important.
You know what I'm thinking about right now? Like, maybe for straight people don't have to deal with the stigma that queer people have to deal with when it comes to having a partner or having sexual encounters, and maybe that's why there's such high STI rates and all this stuff going on.
Maybe it could be.
And you know, all the DL guys, there's some guys who are like married and have families and they're on the DL hooking up with queer people because reasons.
Yeah, because reasons.
Yeah.
No, I think it sucks to be in a place where you don't fully accept yourself, to where you are closeted.
And I think that also leads to all these STI stuff and like these different talks that are not had, and so you don't know how to take care of yourself, and sometimes things happen that could have been prevented but you couldn't because of the stigma or misinformation.
Yeah, I think it's right now in our it's still kind of taboo to talk about sex. It's still kind of like weird. Like, obviously you cringe when I'm like, let's talk about sex. But I think it should be a little bit normal. that's how we got here. Sex, like our lives.
My mom said it was a crane.
No.
So.
But yeah, I think it should be a little bit normal, because there should be not normal to where I'm like talking about my experiences in a public setting, right? But being able to be like, hey, like this happens to me, kind of like supporting each other in a, because we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always trying to figure things out for ourselves. We're sometimes we're in relationships, and our partners, again, we might not be fully compatible sexually until you don't know until you know. But just being able to be open and knowing what you like, and knowing what to ask for. But like you said, heterosexual people might not deal with some of the things that queer people have to deal with in regards to sex. Like, for example, asking super invasive questions. Like, there are times where I come out, or I tell them, yeah, like I'm transgender, I'm a transgender man, I've been on, testosterone for this many years, or whatever the case may be. And right away they're like, oh, so like what, like how do you have sex? And I'm like, well, how do you have sex? Like, how do you have sex? Or they're like, well, what's in your pants? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean what's in my pants? Like, if we're not fucking, then you don't need to know.
Oh, period.
If we're not sleeping together,
he said the S word.
Yeah, then you don't need to know. But they'll ask things like, what restroom do you use? And I'm like, what restroom do you think I use? Like,
even then, like, what makes people think that they can ask those questions to people? Like, I bet you that if somebody asked them that, they'd be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So what gives them the what makes them think that they have the right to ask somebody that?
Because if I'm already coming out to you and I'm already telling you like, oh, I'm trans, or whatever the case may be, I'm already kind of opening up to you and kind of becoming vulnerable. And then you asking those questions that's fucked up. Like, I'm trusting you with this because it's not something that obviously we're talking about it right now, and I do it for educational reasons, right? But if I'm trusting you with my personal life, and then you're gonna ask me something like that,
incredibly invasive. If you're one of those people, then catch me outside. How about that?
Yeah. And there's a lot of ways you can educate yourself, online and things
Very
like that.
true. Instead of making this person uncomfortable or asking such a invasive and personal question, go to YouTube, go to Google, because the answers are out there. You don't have to interrogate this person and make them feel othered,
Feeling othered is a huge thing. Sometimes I remember there was a time where I felt othered by my partner at the time.
Oh, how?
It was in regards to like sex, right? How I have sex and things like that, and how we had sex, and having other past partners and things like that. And it made me feel like shit. Like, it made me feel so bad. And I'm like, I'm having sex like any other guy's having sex. I don't understand. And she made me feel othered in the most ugliest way, and nobody should ever feel that way.
No, and if anything, I feel that your partner should be your number one, the one who understands you and makes you feel seen, validated, heard, and comfortable. And for your partner to be the person that does that, that's sad.
Yeah, it is. It is sad, huh? It's like you go through these things and you don't think about it.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of reflecting to realize.
You're like, damn, that was fucked up.
But you know what? That's because you're seeing this from a place of evolution.
I'm a Pokemon.
You've grown.
Yeah.
You're a war turtle, not a Squirtle, bitch.
I know a couple of Squirtles.
Oh! No! Cut. Okay, that was good. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah,
Squirtle.
Yeah, just asking those invasive questions. I'm just gonna say it. Don't ask a trans person what their name used to be.
Ugh.
That's like the worst thing ever. Because I've had people ask me like after they find out I'm trans, because not everybody always knows. Because they don't know until I say something most of the time. I've met a lot of people that were like, "What? Like, you're trans?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "You're trying to be a girl?" And I'm like, "No." No, I'm not trying to be anything. I'm and then I have to explain it, but they think it's okay to be like, "Oh, well, what was your name before?" And And I'm like, no, my name's Alex. Yeah, but what was your name before? And I'm like, no, my name's Alex. You're meeting me right now. This is all you need to know about me.
And I think that's the importance of getting to educate yourself and knowing why it's not okay to ask those questions, or getting to know people's stories, and listening to other people and their experiences other than just your own and your immediate circle of friends.
Yeah.
Because you make yourself look like a dumbass, inconsiderate, and it's rude. And
Yeah, and I've always told my siblings, because I've always told them, like, hey, you can tell people that you have a trans brother as long as it has to do with educating somebody or helping somebody.
so tell us now, for the viewers, just in case there's somebody out there, why it's not okay to ask somebody that.
It's just like, it's kind of stripping away of who I am right now, like, of my identity, and not validating me as a person right now, as who I am right now, as a man I am right now, for me. So if you're asking me, like, what was your name before, it's like, what do you mean? My name is Alex. I'm meeting you as Alex. I'm meeting you as the man that I am. What does it matter what it was? Like, are you it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's very invalidating. It feels like since you're asking me that, you're not believing who I am right now.
Okay. And I'd imagine that maybe it's different person to person, but I think that's why it's important to know who you're talking to, and just be respectful and kind, because you never know.
And if you are, because there's people that are curious, right?
Mhm.
Which I understand. We're curious about things we don't know, because you don't know any of these things until you meet somebody who is, right? So
Mhm.
I didn't know any drag performers until I met you. So I'm like, you wash your wigs, like you have fresh lashes every time. I don't know about those things until I know. So yes, there's a lot of information on Google, online, all kinds of stuff. But if you get to a point where you're like me and you, if you get to a point where you're like, Alex, can I ask you something in regards to your transition? I'm gonna be like, yeah, what's up? And then we talk about it in a more safe, open setting. And that's different. That says a lot. So there is some misinformation on Google and stuff, but if you find the right places to go to and the right resources, you can definitely educate yourself. The best way to educate yourself is if you have a friend, though, as well, right? So you get the true facts.
And I think that's why I've learned to be respectful of people and not ask more than what they tell me, and meet people where they're at, who they are right now, and if there's anything else they want to share with me, they will, because you never know, and you never know people's stories and what people go through. So don't be a fucking metiche.
Yeah.
And mind your business.
Mind your business.
But going on our theme today of Valentine's Day. Oh, and that being said, the sex talk and everything, make sure you're getting tested. Know your status.
Know your status.
There's high syphilis rates here in the valley.
There is.
Yeah.
Get
tested.
Please get tested.
And when you go to your doctor, make sure, don't just say, hey, I'm here for an HIV test, because they'll make you pee in a cup, and that doesn't like check for everything. So you got to tell them, take some blood and check me for gonorrhea, for syphilis, for chlamydia, for all of those, and swab my throat and swab my ass, please.
If that's what you're doing, yes.
If that's what you're doing. Not that
just
I
for
do
fun.
any of that.
Yeah. If that applies to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important to take care of yourself, take care of your health.
So, as we were talking about, Valentine's Day can be a time that, it involves all these things we talked about, like relationships, sex, dating, love. But what's the biggest love of all?
Love yourself.
No, that's not what Whitney Houston said.
Oh, what
Whitney
is it?
Houston said, the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. Oh, I guess it is self-love. Yeah, okay. Whitney says it's
not you trying to. You're wrong.
That's not what Whitney said. Yeah, so self-love. What has your self-love journey been like? Ooh, my god.
My self-love journey, it means, it entails being okay with my own presence. It entails not being so hard on myself. It entails me time, therapy, a lot of therapy, a lot of self-awareness. Everybody needs therapy. But we're not mental health professionals, so
I am. Get therapy.
It means just knowing who I am, and I don't know. I've always been stuck in this mindset of doing the right thing. But
He's the one.
Somebody once told me that doing the right thing is not always the right thing to do.
What does that mean, though?
It just means what you believe or you think or society says is the right thing to do is not always the right thing to do. And that's
okay, Master Oogway.
That what?
Kung Fu Panda.
Oh. Yeah, and that stuck with me, and I think I tell him to this day, and he's like, "Oh my god, you actually listened to me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." But yeah, that's my journey of self-love, and knowing that I'm worth it, knowing that I'm worth good things, and that I shouldn't be treated in a bad way or be taken advantage of, and learning to say no, even if it is to my loved ones.
If it's for your own inner peace,
Self-respect,
and well-being. Amen.
What about you?
My journey with self-love. Well, I've come to learn that you can't have any kind of love unless you have self-love. You need to love yourself, and that means respecting your boundaries, respecting yourself, giving yourself the me time you need, allowing yourself to find joy in the things that you find joy in. And before you find anybody else or a partner, you need to be comfortable with yourself, because that is how you're going to know whether that partner is good or not for you. And when you find somebody, they need to have that same, at least for me, that same perspective within themselves. And then we come together and share the journey of life, But it's not, I don't believe in the whole like, I'm gonna find my other half, or they're gonna fix me, or I'm gonna fix them. I feel people need to be wholes as they are, and then meet and then share their life, not complete each other.
Codependency is a real thing.
It is. Debo, his dog.
You know what? I was in one.
A codependent relationship?
Yes, I was. And it was really hard to get out of.
I'm very proud of you, though.
Thanks.
I'm going to say it in front of all the millions watching at home. There's been so much growth from Alix's end. Like, it's been amazing to watch and inspirational, to be honest. I'm proud of the bestie. Zoom in on the face, y'all. But it's hard. It's a lot of work, and it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because you have to face your demons, and that's that. But if you're willing to do that and set your ego aside and just, it's like one of the best things ever, because you just feel like life just gets easier.
Yeah,
it does.
Change is growth. Knowledge is power. And love yourself. And you know what else is self-love for me? Lots of tattoos.
Ooh.
More tattoos coming this year.
They're looking nice.
I hope my tattoo artist is watching this. I'm coming.
Self-love for me is allowing myself to be creative, performing, being sickening.
I also would add letting others help you.
Yeah, I've learned
letting me help you.
Yeah.
There was a time where you were like so frazzled, and I was like, what do you need me to do? And you were like, nothing. And I was like, what do you need me to do?
Because I was so used to,
can you blah blah blah. And I was like, I got you, and we got it done. If it's one thing I'm gonna do, let's get it done.
Self-love is also allowing others to love you and help you. And everything just gets easier with the help and love of someone else. And it doesn't have to be a partner. It could be a friend, it could be a niece, it could be a neighbor, it could be a family member, or whoever. life really does get easier once you allow yourself to be helped and be in the company of someone else, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we covered a bunch of topics for
We did.
Valentine's Day.
We did.
So I hope that we hit a little bit of something for everybody listening. There's so many aspects to the human existence. I feel like humans are way more complicated than
Super
people
complicated.
give us credit for.
That's why the aliens are coming.
Yeah, that's the next podcast. They're coming, and I'm gonna look good for them.
So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Continue sharing our podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much to everybody who's sharing. We appreciate you so much. It means so much to see people enjoying, relating to, and even sharing these videos. This is a little passion project for us. We feel that there's so many discussions to be had that maybe are not had. I feel that in this world where there's a lot of fake entertainment, like on social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, with all these influencers and stuff, I think there's something special about authenticity and human to human connection. And I hope that this is what this project is for people in this podcast.
Yeah, so if you have any ideas on what you'd like us to cover or what you'd like us to talk about, or if you'd like to see me do Millenia's makeup one day, comment.
Oh my god.
Because I don't know anything about makeup.
And I'm gonna have to do the podcast with the face you gave me. Oh Jesus.
But yeah, comment, let us know what you think. Let us know all kinds of different topics you'd like us to cover, and we'll get on it. Don't forget to follow us on social media, Alix with the 991
at Millenia Decade.
And yeah, we'll see you all soon.
Bye. Thanks for joining us. Cue the outro. Con café con glitter. Me gusta mucho la fucking glitter.